old heart impacts past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask, grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here. And now, whenever we last left off, we had Izuku Midoriya. He has gone into the hyperbolic time chamber in order to properly train and prepare for his next fight with Cell. Midoriya thought that after 6 months, he would be able to at least determine where Cell stood. And in one final act of desperation, he thought that he can go all out, 100%. And he even pushed his body past a few breaking points. Yeah. With that being said, Midoriya is going to be spending some time in the hyperbolic time chamber with Momo. And we do currently have both of these two. They have just gotten in. And the first thing Midoriya decides to do was check to see how much food is in this building. Or in this room. Now, Midoriya is quite surprised whenever he does find that they have more than a year's worth of food within the time chamber. Quite surprised. So, he's not too sure why there's excess food, but it is going to be useful. So, they will be able to spend enough time in here to get stronger. Now, the first thing Midoriya does is he does go out to go and train. Momo immediately stopping him and informing him about what he has to actually do. Sit down and wait until his body has fully recovered. Now, Midoriya does find this to be a bit annoying. And he actually does seem to be a bit angry about this. Him sitting around and relaxing for about an entire week. His ki does seem to be recovering nice. And Midoriya has not yet attempted to try and train. Meanwhile, we do have Momo, who is outside the current room, and actually just training out in the void. Now, Midoriya actually does think about all this, as he does try and power up. Now, Midoriya can use his energy, and it does seem like he's almost back at 100%. Now, a few more days do pass, and Midoriya is able to actually get onto his feet and go out and train. Momo actually being surprised at the Zenkai boost he has been given from his fight with Cell. Now, I'm not going to be naming numbers for a little bit of time. In fact, this is going to be the last saga I'm going to be naming numbers. So I'm going to make it easy on myself and not have to write things down constantly. Now then, Midoriya and Momo do begin to train, and they work intensely. Now, they continue on in training for around, let's say, almost about a year. Or close to it. About a little bit before the 10th month mark. Midoriya and her have gotten significantly a lot stronger. Midoriya's power level is quite high, and Midoriya feels like he might stand a chance. If he is able to complete his training, then he can do anything. Now, with that being said, an intense battle does go on. Midoriya and Momo both fighting each other back and forth. And they go very intensely. Now, they fight for a full 36 hours straight. By the time these two are both done, they are heavily exhausted. Momo, her, falling backwards and falling out of Super Saiyan, as she is very tired, huffing and puffing and breathing. Midoriya actually falling forwards onto his knees, as he is trying to catch his own breath. Now, Momo can still sense that Midoriya is in Super Saiyan. Her turning her eyes down and staring directly up at Midoriya. Midoriya stating that he can still fight. He can still go further. Midoriya powering up to Mastered Super Saiyan, and Momo watching in amazement. Midoriya's power level jumps up high. Midoriya is shaking the room with spirit and time. Before, Midoriya goes one step further. Him jumping into Super Saiyan 2. And Momo watching in absolute shock at this power. Now, as Midoriya is in this transformation, he actually just keeps screaming before falling forwards and passing out. Now, after Momo does actually lay down for a few minutes, she recovers enough to try and stand on her feet. Walking back over to the time chamber door and getting a sensu bean. Setting the bag of sensu beans back down before going out to Midoriya. And picking up his body as she does carry him back inside. Now, Midoriya has already regrown his tail. However, there is still one thing that Momo is confused about. That transformation, whatever it was what Midoriya was waiting for. And all this time, he's tried using Ultra Instinct. But that form has so many different drawbacks, so many different things that can go wrong with it. And then there's the fact that he wants to use like high energy. He has a plan to take down Cell. Midoriya is stressing himself out day in and day out, trying to think about different ways to take down this mechanical menace. And he deserves a day off. Now, Midoriya and Momo do spend some time together the next day. And this is whenever Midoriya and her do continue on in training. Now, with that, 1 year and 6 months do actually pass. And this is whenever Midoriya and Momo do actually step out of the time chamber. Midoriya stepping out of the chamber first. Everyone being quite surprised at Midoriya's progress. Now, Midoriya has also grown a bit of a beard in this amount of time. And everyone is currently staring at him. Midoriya does seem to be a bit more determined and level-headed. So, they're all thinking that he may have discovered something about his power inside. And then they are all immediately alerted to Momo whenever she does walk out herself. Now, Whenever they do actually turn to see her, they are quite surprised to see that she is actually pregnant. Now, with that, not a lot of things would be said. Everyone's more or less still in shock. Now, Hope is still confused as to what is happening. And there is a few things going on. Now, I do want to say that this is where Vados would actually pull Midoriya and Momo aside and begin to ask about their training on the inside of the chamber. Midoriya informing Vados of a few things, along with Vados actually asking Momo a few questions. Now, everyone is still in shock of what is going on. And Midoriya actually does try and sense Cell's power level, finding that he has dropped off of the map. Now, he does ask if anything has been going on, to which no one can ever even really give him an answer. Simply just informing him that Cell, he's been gone still, and they just need to wait now. Now then, with all of that, Midoriya and Momo do actually head back to Midoriya's house, along with Vados and a few others. Meanwhile, for Bakugo and the humans, they all do begin to start arguing. The safest place to be for them right now would be with the Saiyans. At least that's what Melissa is going on stating. Bakugo talking about how they're not safe anywhere on this planet. And the only safe place is back in the time chamber, where they can train, fight, and improve. Bakugo ranting off about how he is going to fight Cell and take him down. Cell cannot stop him. He has shattered through and gone beyond his own limiters. In fact, he was supposed to have his body reprogrammed, well, technically 6 months ago, but really it's sort of complicated. Now, Melissa actually has informed Bakugo that he can talk to the mechanic that they do have. And whenever he does go to a base, simply just give them a few explanations. Now, with this, everyone does actually split up and go their own separate ways. Meanwhile, we do have Kami, who is still monitoring the situation on Earth, as he finally does put his own plan into place. Now, he heads out to where he dropped off King Piccolo and sealed him away. He does find the area, before creating a barrier of ki and beginning to search the ocean floor. Now, after hours upon hours of searching and trying to sense a faint ki source, he does eventually find where he sealed King Piccolo off into, before taking it back to the lookout. Now, with that being said, he does release King Piccolo. And as soon as King Piccolo is released, he immediately goes to attack Kami, being surprised over Kami actually just catch his fist, and bend his arm backwards, making King Piccolo fall to the ground, before he suddenly does begin to power up. Now, he does not say a single word. King Piccolo actually quite fearful of the power Kami is currently showing off. Now, I want to say that Kami would be somewhere within the higher millions. Possibly not over 1 billion, but roughly around close to that level, since he himself has gone into the time chamber and trained constantly, along with fusing with the Namekians that went against Slug, he himself has actually gotten a lot stronger. Now, Kami then goes on stating to King Piccolo that the planet they are both currently standing on is in a great high degree of danger, and that this threat against them will most likely end all of them. So, they need to come to a conclusion and come to an agreement. Would that be possible? Now, Piccolo, or King Piccolo, stares at this strange Namekian in front of him that he does not really recognize, going on to state that fusing with him will never happen. And Kami does actually go on explaining. He can understand, as he basically drags him into the hyperbolic time chamber to train. Now, these two would butt heads. However, Demon King Piccolo, he does find that his power does drastically begin to increase, training with Kami. Now, I want to say that these two would be in the hyperbolic time chamber for 7 years. Or at least, let's put it at... Yeah, I want to say that they would try and spend 3 or 4 years in the time chamber, trying to get stronger. Now, in this amount of time, these two would butt heads and have their ideologies clash back and forth. And Demon King Piccolo does try and fight back against Kami. Every time he thinks that he has a chance to kill him or absorb him, it would not go according to plan. And Kami would spare Piccolo's life, explaining that neither one of them can be absorbed, and that if both of them are turned into one being once again, then the Dragon Balls will be useless. The only thing that would save the planet. Now, Kami does actually show Piccolo these things. The power and the abilities of the creature currently wreaking havoc. And Piccolo does somewhat understand. Now, the two actually do begin to try and brainstorm and come up with different ideas and plans. Now, these two do eventually settle on one idea. However, they're not too sure what might really happen with it. Now, with that being said, they do put their plan into place, as eventually, on the 4th day of their training, a Namekian does walk out of the time chamber. However, it is neither Kami nor Demon King Piccolo. He has become something greater. Now, with all of that being said, let us cut over to the Saiyans and everything going on. Them all just trying to relax until Cell does decide to pop up once again. Deku talking with his father and learning a bit more things, along with Hisashi actually congratulating his son on being a soon-to-be dad. Now, with all of that, there is quite a lot of confusion as to how this all got started, or how this all may have happened. And the two basically do somewhat explain. They've been interested in each other for a long time. And they talked about how after everything is over, they did actually plan on getting married. Now, with all of that being said, we actually do have Hope, who is asking a few questions about what they plan on naming their child. wanting to understand this timeline, since it appears that there's already been drastic changes. Now, Midoriya and Momo don't really know a lot of good names to come up with. They've tried spitballing a few, but even then, none of them really do sound right. Momo does want to go for a Saiyan name, where Midoriya does want to go for somewhat of an Earthling name, even though their baby is technically full Saiyan. Now, with that being said, a few weeks do go by, and Cell still has not popped up. And with the help of Vados, the baby is born healthy. Now, with all that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.